And now I would like to invite our next panelist to talk about how in real life fashion brands can take the leap into the world of NFT wearables. So please, I would like to invite all of them to come to the stage. Welcome, everyone. The stage is yours. Perfect. So, it's with you.
Hi, everybody. Hi. I have actually never moderated before, but we're jumping right in, right? So, yeah, welcome to our panel. Why don't we start with an introduction?
I am Eshita. I am a research analyst at Masari, which is a crypto data analytics and research firm. And I cover all things from generally Web3, like NFTs, DAOs, and then infrastructure.
Hi, my name is Indre. Super happy to be here. I didn't know what I expected, but I didn't expect that many people. So super thankful that you all came. So my name is Indre. I come from Lithuania, so that's quite far away. I have a NFT venture called Wearables, and it was born out of the real-life fashion brand that we've had for 10 plus years. And yeah, we are now just trying to figure out how to turn that into a fully Web3 brand and how to open that path for others to show what is possible for fashion designers and creators in this space.
Hi, my name is Chad Knight. I oversee cyberware at Wilder World, which is an emerging metaverse for Unreal Engine 5. I've been a digital artist for about 10 years, found my way into footwear, oversaw 3D footwear design at Nike for the last 5 years, and have finally fully made the transition over into a Web3 career. But super excited to be here, and welcome.
And I'm Angel Pui. I'm a 3-time tech VC-funded founder. I went to fashion school almost 20 years ago, and then 2 years ago, when my second startup exited, I decided to diversify my portfolio by collecting Birkins and Chanel flaps and noticing that there is such a thing called a floor price and resale value. And then I chatted with my friend Mac Flavel, who was the co-founder of Dapper Labs and CryptoKitties, and he said, you gotta get into Web3. So I worked with Dapper Lab and the team, and I am now doing my own luxury collectibles brand called Diamond Handbag. So why don't we go with our first question? How have we seen some best use cases of in real life brands getting into metaverse fashion? Why don't we start with you, Chad?
That's a good question. I think early on in the pandemic, it was really interesting. You saw people or brands realizing that they needed to pivot and they needed to very quickly adapt to this emerging future. And I think that one of the best use cases I've seen was a lot of the digital or virtual fashion shows that quickly ramped up and replaced the real life ones that they weren't able to have. But then also I think Nike's done a good job with bringing in Artifact to help kind of lead that for them. And I think also companies like The Fabricant and DressX are doing a really good job with helping to usher in some of these brands in a very authentic way.
Yeah, I'll probably be a bad cop in this question because I don't think that we have actually seen a world-class adaptation of fashion in Web3 yet. I fully agree that the platforms like DressX and Fabricant are doing an amazing job, but so far what I've seen from brands, specifically on blockchain and in Web3, so what they do mainly is to redeem something from NFT to a physical thing, and that's not really an innovation. I don't want to be a downer, but I think what we are all doing in here is experimenting and finding the best use cases and the best ways to utilize Web3 and the technology behind that. So I think it's all in the future, and I'm a true believer in digital fashion and blockchain fashion specifically, but I just don't think we are there yet, which gives us truly an advantage because yeah, we are really early, everybody says that, but we are truly early, and yeah, we can all grow together and really figure out this value proposition, because we cannot live only on the hype and on, you know, basic level of being just an NFT project or whatever. So we really need to find that value.
So digital fashion is not a new concept, right? Like, we've seen this in gaming for years, like people going in and buying skins for their avatars, right? Fashion is an identity thing, and I think the coolest thing I've seen so far is like luxury brands stepping in and like creating their own NFT collections for games like Roblox, Fortnite, Valorant, whatever it might be. So my favorite example of this is it was Gucci. They sold a digital bag. It was a version of a real bag on Roblox, and it sold for like $6. And then they resold that, and it sold for more than the real version of that bag, which was crazy. So the appetite is there. I think we're going to start seeing more and more luxury brands stepping in and, you know, making their own games, making their own collections on these games, because people want that.
Yeah, and from a tech background, I've seen, you know, the best use cases of tech is about testing and iteration. You know, back in 2010 when I was in Silicon Valley and working closely with Airbnb, it was all about testing the onboarding process. It took 50 iterations to get the host onboarded where they would enter their address. So I think the biggest use case is being able to test what, you know, product that user really love. So one of the example that I've seen really successful is the Forever 21 beanie. You know, it wasn't, Forever 21 didn't even make that beanie yet, and it was just sold for 50 cents, and it sold for over $1.5 million worth right now, and they are finally making it. I just love how you can find out as a brand, you know, which part of the global market wants this product, what color combination, and how many, right? From a tech marketplace perspective, it's all about supply and demand. Instead of an 18 months runway to finally know, you know, this for sale or that 20% goes straight to landfill, you now know, you know, APAC wants this or Europe wants this color, and you can plan your inventory much better with the digital first product. Yeah, so I think it's really gonna help. So why do you think the brands are making this move, getting into the metaverse? Is it FOMO, is it PR? What do you think is the driving factor? Survival
Is first and foremost. If you look at the older brands that were just doing print catalogs when Web 2 came along, those who weren't able to adapt quickly became obsolete. And I also think that, to your point, it helps with the development cycle, the design process. You can iterate quicker, you can stay more on trend, you can react quicker to market trends. But also, as a designer, it opens up so many new possibilities in terms of what you can do. You've got 3D tools that can help you create forms that you could never draw. You've got in-game technology, which can enable attributes or utility for the character. And you have oracles within the NFT technology. So there's so much that you can do with it that I think there's a lot of different reasons that people are coming in. They're seeing different opportunities along that scale.
I would also add that they're tapping into communities, because Web 2 was all about possession, about something that you can show off, and Web 3 is about experience and community and that feeling of belonging. So, I mean, it would be stupid not to utilize that, because those global brands and conglomerate like LVMH, all the biggest names in the world, they also need community. They need loyalty to sustain their level of brands and the exclusivity. And actually, NFTs and Web3, they give them the opportunity to to do just that, to be exclusive, but with a whole new generation, the generation of Gen Z and later on with alphas, so that they can earn their loyalty and their trust and their friendship, because it's all about human connections. Anyway, all the luxury sector and fashion sector is all about this very personal experience of shopping and experiencing everything. So yeah, it's definitely, I think that's what they're doing right now.
I think adding on to the community thing, there's an opportunity to open source the garment design process. There's a DAO called Hibiscus DAO that's currently doing this. So like putting design files on chain and then letting people fork that and then build their own designs on top of it. And then like replacing the testing and sampling process with the digital process. You're like helping the environment, because you're not going through the process of like creating that many garments that go to waste. So I think it's going to be really cool. It's going to unlock creativity, like putting things on chain and then like letting people see what's going on in the design process. I think there's going to be more teams doing that, and a great opportunity for fashion brands to step on.
Yeah, and it's all about building communities, right? With Web 2, it's the brands are creating a product, they're marketing it, then they're reaching out to the influencer, and finally later find out that the consumers don't love it. Whereas with Web 3, you could really create this genuine two-way conversation, hearing what the consumers are saying. As soon as that digital product goes out, you could quickly iterate and change colors and relaunch something quickly. You could even do a collaboration first, digital first strategy. So yeah, I think it's just much more interactive and, again, two-sided conversation. Yeah. So let's get into the future. What do we see in the future for 2023 and fashion, digital fashion and metaverse fashion?
And beyond? Is the other?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, I have so many opinions on this. I think that first you're going to start to see some challenging of the bigger brands with some other virtual first brands, digital first or whatever, digitally native. I think that they're going to, those of us who work in 3D and work within the technology understand the potential that the technologies pose for creatives, more so than I think a lot of the brands that are going to be transitioning into this later as a physical first brand. I think utility is going to be a really big thing in terms of avatars and how they work within these metaverses and what they can enable. I think that we're going to see, hopefully, a lot more high fidelity assets and less of the, with all due respect, the kind of 8-bit looking stuff. I think that's really challenging for a brand to really differentiate through craft and really bring that to life. And I think we're going to see a lot of innovation in the simulation of garments and footwear and accessories like that too, with the actual materialization and a lot of innovation where the materials that they might be made of don't even exist in this world.
Yeah, I think we're gonna start seeing the beginning of true adoption of digital wearables, whether they are on chain or not. I really think that Gen Z girls will be the driving force for this, because they are truly digital natives. They don't see a difference between value of a physical item and a digital item. I've spent 4 years analyzing Gen Z, and yeah, they are very passionate about belonging somewhere, not having a possession, but belonging and having a community. So that's where they will find themselves. And I'm also a big believer in augmented reality before virtual reality, because I think that's just gonna take off so much sooner. So that's one path that is worth exploring, and I've seen some crazy good stuff coming out of augmented reality technology, so I think that's where we're heading in the next 5 years.
I think for me, I'm really excited to see the AR side of things too. Like Snapchat has done a really good job at this. So we're going to start seeing Instagrams and TikToks of people wearing digital items that are rendered onto them. For now, a lot of these aren't super realistic, and it's just like a tech disadvantage because we don't have the technology to really render that on there. But yeah, in the future, I think we're going to start seeing Gen Z trying on these digital items, and I know a lot of brands currently have like AR try-ons, but they're just not realistic enough. I think there's going to be more development there. And then, for example, like Zoom calls, you know how people joke like you don't have to wear pants on your Zoom call? Like you literally don't have to wear anything. Like you can just like render on an outfit and just be on your call. I think there's going to be more development there in the next few years.
I just wanted to add that I think something that is going to emerge and isn't possible necessarily too much with the current technology is the ability for the consumer to co-design with the brand. So, you know, presenting certain sliders or certain attributes that they can do. It's like Nike by you, but completely where you're changing form more than just color and material.
Yeah, and for 2023, one of our, in our handbags, you can actually forge a physical. So I think there's also going to be a bridge between, the digital version and the physical version. Like what Chad said, maybe the consumer can customize it a little bit, to make it work for in real life versus their digital version. Or maybe they can unlock with AR, right? Maybe there's a microchip inside that handbag, and when you use your phone with the AR filter, it unlocks the dragon and it starts flying around and having that social experience where the influencer or even the wearer can share that AR experience with their friends and say, look at my bag, just, unleash into this dragon, and that's my vibe today. So I think, with, like you said, the Gen Z crowd, it's all about self-expression, right? So with the digital and physical version of it, you can really just modify it to how you feel that day, whereas a physical handbag, it is how it is right now. But can you imagine if it can change based on your mood, the color, the size, the mood? That would be so exciting. So what about your wish list? What would you like to do in the next few years?
I would like to see, if I had the technology, I would like to see it get to a point where you don't have to know how to 3D model to create. You can approach software and be able to create like you would in this world, where it's very intuitive and things are simulated at a really small level, so that when you interact with the material, it's just like interacting with this. There's not the 3D model and the material. The 3D model is made of the material like it is in this world. Because I think that there's still a big limitation for what we're seeing in terms of creatives coming into the space based on the technical hurdles to learn the software. And I would also I would love to see more photorealistic metaverses emerging, and I would love to see us start to use terminology that makes sense to people who aren't in the space. So I think that we were doing a very good job in the beginning with like crypto art. I think it was much more understandable to people than NFTs. And I understand that that's the term that's stuck, but I think that there's a lot of confusion created by the terminology and jargon that maybe doesn't apply.
With the Rebels, my project, one of our main goals is to bring more applied art creatives, so fashion designers and other creatives in the space, because I feel like digital artists already found this Web3 world, and they're starting to learn what is possible in here. Not so much with fashion creators, because it's still a new territory for them. Fashion industry is very conservative. It does not like change. It runs on cycles that are predefined, and it's very hard to change that. So maybe I'll go back a little bit for a funny story that we had and how the Rebels were born, because 9 years ago we in Lithuania had a big fashion show, and we did an ad that was banned in Lithuania because we got in the way of church. So they thought that we did something that was immoral, which I would oppose, because that was just a very lovely ad based on the common language that we use every day, sort of like Jesus, Mary, what are you wearing? Or Mother of God, what a dress, for example. So yeah, and we got into the court case against our own country, against Lithuania, and we lost all cases in Lithuania. So basically, that's funny because we are not a religious state. We are totally secular. We don't have a state religion. So I was 22 at the time, like a young kid without any money to fight the government, to fight the establishment. But we did not give up, and we went to the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg, which is the Supreme Court of European Union, considering the human rights issues, and we won. We won the case. So that's thank you. Yeah. So now we have a case against Lithuania, and it's a precedent. It's a precedent in the European Union. So whenever any other creator or artist has the same issue that the establishment tells them what you can or cannot do, they can use this case to basically, fight for their freedom of expression and fight for their freedom of speech. So that's how the Rebels were born. They are based on the characters of that ad, and we thought what a brilliant way to immortalize the story forever, because now it's on the blockchain and nobody can take it from us. So yeah, our goal is to show the creators that, you can have your freedom, you can have your right to say and express yourself in any way, respecting the people around you, but like nobody can tell you what you can or cannot do.
Thank you.
I think for me, I'm really excited to work on getting more creatives onboarded onto this space, like designers. Like, there is a hurdle in fashion in the industry today, getting designers on board and them making it. So I think Web3 offers an opportunity for them to try different things and be more creative, because in the digital world, you're not limited by material. So you can do literally anything you want with the pieces that you create. So I'm excited for that. I think on the gaming side, I'm excited to see more interoperable NFTs and pieces, like taking your avatar and the skins you bought on Roblox and taking it to Fortnite, and just you're building people's identity that's the same across the metaverse or metaverses, whatever that is.
Yeah, and like I mentioned previously, I want to take that 20% of wastage of our garment right now, down to zero. I want us women to be trading, collecting, buying, learning how to collect all asset in a way that we have never done before. When I discover that a Birkin is worth much more than the retail price, I was fascinated, and I was just taking care of my infant baby, just endlessly scrolling Instagram, and I started telling all my friends about it. Did you know we can make money shopping? So I really want to empower women to be able to just know how to do that. Yeah. So any final thoughts we want to share before we close out the panel?
I actually have a question that I wanted to ask real quickly. What do you all think about AR in terms of a vehicle for getting people into the space? Do you think that that's something that will help, or do you think it's just a separate industry from the wearables?
Well, I think that will definitely help, because that's what, Snapchat filters is the, one thing that kids nowadays use daily. And you can really start with accessories and, fashion items that are easily rendered in AR. And if you do something cool, or like a brand does an amazing collaboration with someone, that will definitely create the hype and create bring the more eyes on this industry. So I think it's really worth going deeper into that. And AR devices are much more user-friendly, and they can really look like nice glasses. So you can go around and check how the garment fits you, for example, or how it looks like, if it does fit your skin tone or whatever. So I truly believe in that.
Yeah, I think it totally helps. Like, Snapchat is a consumer app with an insane amount of daily active users, and they're mostly Gen Z kids, right? And they love these filters. You see them across on Instagram. You see the same filters on TikTok. I think it definitely helps people get an appetite for digital fashion. Yeah, I think it definitely helps, and it's like a merged situation.
Yeah, and I think AR is just going to blur those lines of gaming, entertainment, media, fashion, physical and digital all in one into this melting pot. You know, you can use your phone and unlock AR, and all of a sudden you're blurring the lines of physical and digital. It could be a game. You can interact with your AR experience. I think it's going to be the hub of it all, tie it all together. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It was great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.